to the channel today, guys. Now, we're going to do something a little different because I want you to picture this in your mind. Sylvia Shearwood, a handler at WISE, the Westhalis Intelligence Service Eastern Focus Division. Someone who performs duties as an attaché at Westhalis' embassy in the East. Someone who is dubbed the Full Metal Lady because of her consistently flawless performance. Who gets tailed on a daily basis, who has to wear the same clothes, go to the same shop, and take the same route daily. Who uses that false sense of normality to lure her pursuers into her daily routine so she can slip away and meet with her best agent, Twilight. A man she entrusts with the most important mission in the world. Only for him to report to her and say that his daughter can now clear 2 levels of a jump box. Like, what? What? Bro, Handler needs a raise for all this shit she's gotta do. But enough about Handler having it rough, because we had a really fun episode of Spy X Family today, where we even come to see that maybe Damian has it a little rougher than we have been led to believe. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it and talk about Spy X Family Part 2, Episode 5 today. So the crux of our episode today is the fact that Anya failed to use Bond to get closer to Damian. So the friendship scheme is in disarray. She asked Lloyd to have another family photo taken with Bond in it to try to use this to reenact the plan to get it going again. Literally dropping it in front of them and says, "Oh noes, I dropped the photo with my very cool dog in it. Oh, woe is me." And of course they immediately ignored and walk right past it. Becky actually picks up the photo, looks at it, and we get a surprise. She falls head over heels for Lloyd. Who in the world is this unbelievably hot guy? And Anya's a little freaked out about this, to say the least, especially when Becky keeps pressing her with these questions and tells her that, hey, I'll be keeping this picture, okay? It's a little weird when your one friend tells you, hey, your dad's hot. You mind if I keep your family photo? Huh? Like, what? That's a little weird. But Anya might have a chance yet to win Damian over as we transition to their arts and crafts class, where the theme is to build an object out of these 3D materials, and the theme is animals. And who to thunk it, Anya and Damian get paired together, to his absolute dismay. And I had to include this part, that when Henderson is going around checking on all the students' progress, he goes to Becky and he says, "Becky, what are you working on?" Like, oh, I made Anya's father! I also made it with a combat suit that my family's making. Isn't it great? Henderson tells her the theme is animals, though. You gotta start over. And she's just like, Mr. Henderson, in the end, humans are animals too. As Henderson's like, oh my god, she's right. It's so stupid. Now, Anya uses this situation to create Bond so she can get back on track with her plan. Makes a really shitty looking piece of art, puts it in front of him and says, his name's Bond. Dog Bond. But Damian's just like, so you're into naming garbage, huh? Shutting her down completely. Operation Dog has reached its end. Now you see, our boy Damian is making a griffin because it's just like the family crest that he has. Saying how since my family name is involved, I can't make anything bad. Because you see, Damian just so desperately wants his father's approval so bad. So he believes that if he can make this griffin look good and put on a good show, that his father will finally acknowledge him. Which is kind of sad, honestly. And Anya, reading his mind, starts thinking that, wait a minute, if I can help him make this griffin, maybe his father will be so impressed that he'll want to meet my parents, and the mission will go off without a hitch. So Operation Dog has turned into Operation Griffin. As Anya just looks at him and says, I'll help you make that thing. I want to help you out. And she's positively radiant in this scene. And our boy Damian can't handle it. He gets so embarrassed. He's like, fine, whatever. Do what you want. And Becky, seeing this off to the side, says, I see how it is now. No wonder you're so obsessed with him all the time. I see how it is. Completely misunderstanding it. So they start divvying up the tasks so they can get done with this Griffin sooner. And Anya makes jet engines so he can go zoom. Which is kind of dope, actually. Obviously, Damian's like, yo, what's my chimera? A fucking plane! So now Anya starts making some feathers, and Damian starts chewing her out again, like, how can it fly with so little feathers? And she's like, don't worry about it. It has jet engines. It can still fly. And Damian at this point is starting to get really heated. And Henderson's like, I sense a disturbance in the elegance. So he goes and puts a butt in it right away, saying, that's not very gentlemanly of you, is it? And Damian starts getting upset because he just wants to show this to his father to get his approval, which I do kind of get. Damian's a little shit at times, but he really just wants to be recognized by his family. We'll get into that much more later down the line for this show, but that's his goal right now. And it's here that their projects get finished and they have to go line them up outside of the classroom. And Anya tells him that, I'm sorry I was so useless. You can have this instead of the feathers, as she hands him her creation of Bond. Damian's like, I don't want the garbage you made. And Anya tells him that, I turned it into a girl griffin. You should make it a pair with yours. And it's here we transition to all the adults actually going around and looking at all of the pieces. And it's here we see them stop in horror in front of Damian's piece that he made with Anya. As we transition to Henderson telling them that your sculpture won the top prize. Somehow. He says one of the officials of the Board of Education was quite impressed with it. The fact that it still looks so regal despite having its wings torn apart made him think that our country still had a future and could recover from this war. He couldn't hold back his tears when he saw the corpse of the innocent baby griffin next to it. And Damian's heated by the fact that Anya helped him win. She's just standing off to the side all smug like, that's great, you can show it to your father now. All according to plan. He tells her, I could never show my father something pathetic like that. As Anya realizes that the plan failed yet again, Operation Griffin has ended. And it's here we transition to later in that night where Damian gets a call from Jeeves, the butler, who asks him if he'll be returning during the break. As Damian tells him no, father's not going to be home anyway though, will he? And Jeeves tells him no, he won't. He tells him, I have exams coming up, so I'll just stay here and concentrate on my studies. Damian starts to tell him about what happened today in arts and crafts class, but he quickly decides against it and tells him, no, never mind, don't worry about it. As he asks Jeeves that, you told my father about my orientation, didn't you? Did he say anything about it? And Jeeves tells him, why, yes he did. He was quite worried about your health. But Damian knows he's lying as he hangs up the phone. As we just see the disappointment on his face as he thinks to himself that father has never worried about me once, ever. As he tells his friends that once we're done eating, let's go study for the exams with some instructors. As he thinks to himself that I guess the only way for him to really acknowledge me is to become an imperial scholar. And our episode ends with literally Henderson looking at the Griffin and like, yo, this won top prize? This was number one? What the hell? And yeah, guys, we had a pretty good episode of Spy X Family today. It was a very Damian-centric episode, actually. But again, guys, like, Damian, I guess you could consider him the antagonist to Anya, but at the same time, he's just a kid. And he's got his own worries and concerns, just like her. Like, he literally just wants his dad to acknowledge him, to care about him in the slightest, man. And it's a problem that I feel like a lot of people know. Like, me personally, like, I don't even know my father. I've met him one time in my whole life, so I can kind of relate to Damian in a way. But it's tough, man. It is tough, but it was quite a good episode today. This episode set up a decent amount for the future, especially the fact that Becky is obsessed with Lloyd. That shit is so goofy, but it always makes me laugh every time it comes up. But until next time, guys, I hope you have a great day, week, month, and year. And until then, deuces, have a blessed day, and I'll just see you guys next time.